Hello everyone and welcome to that one playthrough of Kerbal Space Program. I am Kyle once again, and I welcome you to this brand new series where we're going to get kickstarted here today. Now we're going to get started with a new career game mode here. We're going to name this OEI for Over-Engineered Industries because that's just about what every single thing we're going to build is going to be. Now I like to play this on a pretty difficult difficulty, so we're not going to have any of the reverting flights, no quick saves or quick loads. I am going to adjust some of the funds and science rewards just a little bit higher than the hard difficulty just because I don't want it to feel like it's super grindy. I want it to feel like we're still getting somewhere most of the time. Now we are going to be playing with quite a few mods attached. You can see all the other options along here on the left side of the panel. I'm not going to get into detail on every single one of them quite yet. We'll kind of introduce them as they come up, as their relevancy becomes apparent. In addition, Kerbals will not respawn, so if anyone dies, they are unfortunately gone from our space program forever. Last thing we need to do is go ahead and pick a flag. Now, rather than picking one that has to do with any particular nation, I'm just going to go ahead and pick something relatively neutral, something that's maybe a little green. We're going to try and have a space program that doesn't leave too much debris and trash, so I'm going to go with the little trees icon. I always like this one. And then we're going to go ahead and get started here. Alrighty, so as I said, we're going to have a couple of mods, and by a couple of mods I mean probably an astronomical amount compared to what my computer wants to handle. We're going to get started here. I'll show you a couple of them just to start with. The first one is Kerbal Construction Time. Basically what this mod does is make it so that any rockets, planes, anything that we build requires time to actually build. So there'll be in-game time that takes place to actually make sure that things get built depending on the number of parts that are in the system. Takes longer to make bigger rockets. Smaller things take less time. But what we can do is we can actively increase the amount of parts that are built basically over a certain period of time. So we have a couple of points available. I'm going to dump these into, right now I'm in the VAB, so that anything we build in the VAB will actually speed up. And then in our spaceplane hangar, I'll add a couple of points there. Not quite as much because we won't use that as much early on. And then essentially we'll have a list here once we start building stuff that'll show us what's currently building out and how long it's going to take. We can time warp to them so it doesn't have to sit here and wait days and days and days for that to happen. So it'll essentially require a little bit of planning. So if we want to do like a rescue mission, or we forget a part and we have to send it up to another vessel or a space station, we'll have to actually wait for that to be built. So we have to be a little bit precautionary as far as preparing for certain missions. There's also TAC life support I'm utilizing. I like a basic life support mod, basically food, water, oxygen. It doesn't involve like cramped spaces or how long Kerbals are in space for, so the time frame isn't really a factor, but there's still going to be factors as far as if they run out of those basic resources. I might add some other challenges to myself just to make sure that there's not cramped space on any of my vessels. Hey, it's post-production Kyle here, and I just wanted to take a minute because I forgot one very important mod during this whole discussion, and that is the JNSQ mod, or JNSQ mod, and basically what it does is it changes the size of all the planets in the Kerbin system to about 2.5 times that of the vanilla game. Not quite as big as obviously Realism Overhaul, but really good for somebody like me who, say, wants to add more complexity and difficulty to the base game so that it's harder to get to orbit. It's also actually harder to transfer from planet to planet. And then the mod also actually adds a bunch of new planets and moons to the system to explore. So hopefully that becomes a huge part of this whole series. And hope you enjoy it. Let's get back to the action. There's a whole bunch of other mods I'll get into kind of as they pop up, but to start with, we need to jump in and make sure we do some contracts so we can start getting some cash flow and collecting some science for our space program. The nice easy first one here is just do some science. All we have to do is collect any experiment, recover or transmit, and we have to launch a vessel into the air. So this should be pretty easy to do. We'll go ahead and accept that one. And then we'll head on into the VAB here. And another mod that I have is Unkerbal Start. So basically the first parts we have are not going to involve command pods that involve, manned spaceflight or Kerbal spaceflight. We're going to start out with the basic probes, which is nice because it means we're less likely to kill Kerbals early on. The other thing I have in here is called O-Scrap. Now, O-Scrap allows us to keep parts and reutilize them, but the other big thing with this mod is it actually creates failures. So when we click on a part here, like our Probodobodyne Stay Putnik, we'll see that right now it says tested false. So we've never used this part, it's never been tested, and this is generation 1. It has a safety rating of 1, which is terrible. It is a new part though, which is good, but basically what happens is the more often we use parts, the more safe they become, the more tested they are. We get later generations, so every time we build one, it'll be a later generation. So with that in mind, anything that we go to utilize and test, if we've never used it before, there's a chance that that part literally just doesn't work. So for this first vessel, we're going to just chap a solid rocket booster onto here. All we have is this Might. This is coming from, I think, the Restock mod. So I have a couple mods as far as retexturing certain things. Some of the visuals that you'll see on the planet are going to be a little bit different too. Let's go ahead and make sure we add some batteries to this again. This is going to be a pretty simple vehicle. We'll just strap 4 batteries because we're going to try and transmit some science off of this while it's potentially in flight. And we'll want to make sure we don't run out of electric charge when that happens. We'll go ahead and hook on Kerbal Engineer on there as well. That'll give us some data while we're flying as far as altitude, velocity, and the lot. Make sure we get some kind of communication on here. We'll just throw that on top. Looks a little funny, but it's cute in my eyes. And then we should add some aerodynamics. So let's make sure we put on a couple of fins. Go 4-way symmetry, and I'm gonna tweak this. So we're gonna use I have tweak scale in here. I don't like to use tweak scale too much because there are certain parts, like if you made them tiny, you could kind of cheat and get more of them on a vehicle. Things like fins, aerodynamic pieces, I'm okay with resizing them, but we're going to try not to cheat or clip too many things in this. I like it to feel like there's challenges for how you organize spacecraft. And this should be kind of all we need. We only have the one science experiment, the thermometer, so we'll get that going. We have communication, we have battery, everything should be good to go in here. Now, we do want to look and see also, generation 1 of this booster, so there's a chance that it's failed. And in my very, very short period of time testing out this mod, that has actually been the case very frequently, is that the first time you use a rocket, it just no go. Real quick, I think it's structural. Yeah, structural. I've got this mod for decals, so I'm gonna put our little logo on here. And as soon as you put it on, it kind of like folds it around the actual parts you have. So go like that, and then I'll move it up. Maybe we'll shrink it a little bit, actually, more. Just a little tree logo. And then we can add some text to it too, which is cool. So we can actually put the name of our rocket on here. We're gonna name this. We're gonna name this the Lawn Dart, and this will be Lawn Dart Mark 1. We'll go ahead and shrink this. Let's see, it's diameter, scale. Yeah, scale down. There we go. That's, oh, there we go. I can increase that a little bit. The Lawn Dart 1, there we go. Now our rocket is labeled. We got a little flag on there too. Let's label it up here. Lawn Dart, just because this is literally gonna go up and then down and smash into the ground because we don't have parachutes yet. So let's go ahead and save that. And then when we build, what it's gonna do is it's gonna add it to our VAB build list. So now if we look at Kerbal construction time, we have the Lawn Dart is actually in our build list for the VAB. It's going to take 2 days to build. So right now we're on day 1, hour 7. So we'll go ahead and warp this. And obviously the bigger our vehicles get, the longer this will take. But if we always do those little upgrades where we actually can choose to apply points, and I'll show you how we get points once we research stuff in the R&D lab, we'll be able to speed those up even more. So as rockets get bigger, they take longer, but we'll be able to speed it up. So hopefully it ends up being relatively even trade-off. All right, and then we have to roll it out to the launch pad, which doesn't take too long because this is a pretty small, light vehicle. And then I like to warp it up all the way to daylight. I like to launch my rockets when I can see what I'm doing. So let's go without further ado for our maiden voyage. All right, so we can see right away, O-Scrap is basically our parts failure mod. We can highlight the worst part. And right now it's saying the worst part is actually our probe core, we'll see about that. Unhighlight that. The other mod I've got here is Science Here and Now. It's just a good one to help you kind of remind you what science you haven't completed yet. So right now our thermometer on here, we can do a landed at Kerbin's launch pad test, a temperature test. So we'll do that. And I'm just going to transmit that data right away. So we collect that science and we've got it. The other part of our contract was to actually make sure that we launch a vessel. So pretty much all we got to do is make sure that this is going to fire, and hopefully it does. And we'll launch our first rocket. Now, as soon as I launch it and I'm airborne, I should get another test here to run our thermometer again. And of course, as I predicted from all the previous tests I've done, our booster failed. So yeah, unfortunately, we will not be launching anything today, but that is okay. We'll go ahead and recover this, so we'll get the money back. Now if we go back into the VAB and we click on these, you'll see now it says Generation 2 on everything. So we've actually moved on to the next version of this piece, which is good, which means there should be less likelihood for it to fail the second time around. Still has a safety rating of 1, and we haven't technically tested it. But we're not really testing, we're kind of testing and launching it for the first time. So while this is still the Lawn Dart 1, it is Generation 2 of all the parts. We'll go ahead and build it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit build again so that we build 2 of them. It's not really an expensive part, so or not really an expensive vehicle, so I'm not worried about building 2 of them. And we'll go ahead and warp to completion, and then we'll roll it out to the launch pad and give it a go for the second time. The reason I have 2 of them being built is, you know, just in case this second one fails as well. All right, second time is hopefully the charm. We don't have to worry about collecting science on the pad because we already did that with the thermometer. So let's go ahead and see if this bad boy wants to get off the ground in 3, 2, 1, and yes, there we go. All right, perfect. Yes, so we're launched. We can do the temperature scan again for another 4.5 science. We will transmit that. And now we should have, yeah, we got 10.4 science in total. So we'll be able to do some research. And because we completed our contract, 46.50. Oh, okay, I know. We're getting a lot of money right now, and that's because of a number of accomplishments that we've actually completed now that we have a vehicle that's actively flying. So this will keep going until it runs out of fuel. We'll keep gaining velocity, so we'll get some milestones on top speed. We'll get milestones on altitude, which pretty much just gives us free cash at this point, which is why we're almost at 70,000. Not dollars, but Kerbal bucks, whatever they're called. And I don't think we're going to hit a high enough altitude for high altitude science, so we're not going to be able to use our thermometer again, unfortunately. The other good thing is now this part, the solid rocket booster, the Might, has been tested, which means if we utilize it again, it should have a much better rating, and it should allow us to have less failures on it in the future. Now, as we get new parts unlocked as we go through the game, we're going to have to do some testing on each part, especially when it comes to flying stuff with Kerbals actively on board. We'll want to make sure the stuff is tested ahead of time without them. Otherwise, we're going to potentially have a lot of deaths throughout this playthrough. So we're going to let this thing just kind of make its way back down to the ground. Hopefully, oh geez, hopefully it does not hit the vehicle assembly building. I did not think about this. This is bad. This is really bad. We've just sent a missile down to our space center, and hopefully... Oh, geez. Okay. Okay, I think it didn't crumble and collapse into the ground. That's good. But our vehicle is gone. It is destroyed. So we'll go ahead and just return to the space center. All right, so we did have a number of milestones. So we got, let's see, we got our first one of our experiments at home, got some money for that, launched our first vessel, broke a speed record, 25 meters per second, 80 meters per second, altitude 1,000 meters, 2,500 meters, speed, altitude, awesome. So we got a few, I mean, that was, $7,600 for each one of those. A great little boost in our funding. These are vessel completes, and then we completed our contract, so that was another 12,000 some science. We do have a bunch of science now we can utilize to unlock some stuff. So we're going to go into the R&D building, And as I said, I'm using unkerbal starts, so we don't have command pods yet. The closest thing we can get would actually be in aeronautics. We could get the inclined cockpit, so we could actually produce planes, and that's an easy way to grab some contracts for money early on too. What I do want to make sure I get though is engineering, because this has a couple of other science experiments in it, which will allow us to kind of keep progressing relatively quickly. So let's go ahead and unlock that. Now, we spent the research points for it, but it will, just like everything else in Kerbal construction time, when you unlock something, just like building, it takes time to research. So we'll have to wait a few days for that. We can upgrade to some better engines and a bigger solid rocket booster. However, if we get this for this engine, this is a liquid fuel engine. Liquid fuel and oxidizer. We won't have any fuel tanks unless we research fabrication as well, I believe. So there's really no point in getting these individually. So with that in mind, maybe I'll just go ahead and unlock aeronautics. And then each one of these has a one science requirement to unlock. So I'll go ahead and do these as well. Same with these structural pieces. So those will start researching. And then we can do more science with the stuff out of engineering, and we'll be able to build a plane that we can do some easy contracts for as well. So what we should do, yeah, now that we've unlocked planes, we can actively look and see if there's any of these that require flight below whatever the altitude is. If it's above, it's going to be too hard to get that high with a plane. So anything that's below, so that's below, that's below. I don't think these should be too far away from the Space Center. We could also do a bunch of these test ones that are landed at Kerbin. Well, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to do the ones that say flight below. I'm going to take that one, and flight below, we'll take that one, which means we're going to have to build a plane. And this is where things can get a little dangerous this early on. What we need to do first, so if we go into tech now, we can see we're researching these, and it'll take about 4 days for some of these. We can go into upgrades now though too, and since we spent points on the tech tree, we'll have more stuff we can put into the build rate of both the spaceplane hangar and the VAB. So I'm going to throw all of these into the spaceplane hangar, because that's what I'm actively going to be building next. Before I go in there though, I need to warp to make sure that we finish all this research. So as soon as this is done researched, I will see you guys in spaceplane hangar. Alright, so the other thing as far as difficulty goes that I like to play with is making it so that I have to purchase parts even though they've been researched. So on a lot of these, for example, go to aerodynamics, all these have been researched, but we have to actually pay an unlock cost. So for example, unlock the tail connector here, and then I can attach it on. So I have to pay for each one of these. And you can see some of them are pretty expensive. So like the deluxe winglet, 4,600. But once you unlock them with the cost, then you don't have to pay it again, which is good. So I'm gonna just make the most makeshift plane I can. I'm not great at making planes in this game. Hopefully we don't kill any Kerbals early on, but there's always that chance. This is gonna be pretty rudimentary. Let's move that back a little bit. Hopefully it works. That's all I can ask for. I don't want this to control yaw. Roll and pitch I think are okay. And then we need to put some wings on here. So let's do these big, long, wide ones. See where our center of mass compared to our lift is. Let's move this up a little bit. I don't know how big some of these pieces are. I'm going to unlock this one just to see. And, oh, that's actually way bigger than I thought. Do this one instead. Kind of wasting a lot of money in that case, but yeah, we'll go like that. That'll give us a little bit more width on the wingspan. And we need some elevons, so let's go ahead and do a couple of these kind of fatter ones near the midline here. Let's do these littler guys here like so. Actually, let's move it out a little bit, right about there maybe, and then we'll move these guys out to there. We want this to not do yaw, this to not do yaw. I think it's okay if those do roll and pitch. could be horribly wrong. Again, my ability to build planes is about as much as my knowledge to actually build a real-life plane. Put those guys on there. Rotate it just a little bit. Drop it. And then maybe move it over. There we go. So it looks like it's connected. Need to add a single wheel here. Oh, we need a nose cone. What am I doing with my life? Just do this kind of basic nose cone here. And oh, we need fuel tanks and engines. That's how planes go. Do the smaller one here. And I'm thinking right where I don't have these elevons, kind of strap this in like that. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Need air intake, and then we need an actual engine strapped on here. Now, again, just like everything else, none of this stuff is tested. So, for example, safety rating 1, engine safety rating 1, tested, false, generation 1. So this is basically like a failure waiting to happen. And we're probably gonna kill our Kerbals. We're gonna call this the Bumblebee, because bumblebees are not really supposed to fly as far as I'm aware of. Let's make sure we add the important things, like, there we go. Let's add a decal on here with our little tree guys. And, oh, we should put some communication on here just in case. Let's, we just need one of these. Kind of put that back there. And we should put some science experiments. Let's put a thermometer. Let's unlock the barometer. I'm not gonna do the seismometer because this will be in the air. We could do a seismology experiment from the runway, but that's not really, it's only one. And let's put a Kerbal engineer on here as well, so we can keep track of altitude and whatnot. All right, I believe with my lift close to center mass, but behind it, it should stay pointed forward and give us a good amount of lift. Hopefully that is all we need. I am paranoid that I am gonna just mess something up. Launch escape system. Yeah, we probably should have a launch escape system. I don't know if it makes sense to have one on a plane, but you know, stranger things have happened. All right, let's go ahead and save this, and we're gonna cross our fingers and build it. Ooh, $10,000 plane. Wow. Okay, this thing is not cheap. All right, it's gonna take us 9 days to build this, so I will see you guys on the other sed. All right, so when we go to launch this, we can add whatever Kerbal we want here. I'm gonna put, well, should I put Jeb or Valentina? I do need it to be a pilot. I'm gonna put Valentina on it. She can be the first Kerbal that we actively do on a manned mission of sorts, or a womaned mission, or just a Kerbal mission, however you would like to phrase it. All right, we're gonna throw our brakes on real quick because, ooh, I didn't put batteries on this thing. How much electricity do I have? 300. Okay, that's actually a decent amount. Let's do a crew report. Let's collect all this science to make sure we get something valuable out of this. Temperature scan from the runway, everything nominal, fantastic. Atmospheric pressure, data from the surroundings. Yep, pretty standard stuff. And that means, yeah, we're collecting a decent amount of science so we can utilize to unlock another node. Now, again, here our safety rating is terrible, so hopefully everything goes okay. What I should have her do is an EVA report as well. So go ahead and keep that board. Oh, it won't let me? Why won't it let me? Review stored. Let's see. EVA report. Go ahead and transmit that. Why is there... Right, apparently I kept a bunch of data even though we transmitted stuff, I thought. That's interesting. Apparently I had more than I thought I did. Cool, we can unlock 2 nodes, it seems. Okay, well, here goes nothing, I suppose. Okay, we're getting up to some speed. Oh, we're getting a little bit of left turn for some reason. Oh, now we're right turning. No, come on. Can we get off the ground? We're off the ground. Okay, let's decrease the speed just a little bit. We don't need to be moving that fast. Ooh, this has some decent control to it. Okay. Still accelerating. Let's try and gain some altitude, because altitude is going to create a little bit of insurance for us. And while we're climbing, I need to figure out exactly where we're going. So let's go ahead and activate navigation to one of those. And I believe it was to the... Ooh, this has got some really good control to it. Yeah, this is a good little plane. Alright, we're going to turn this way, and then on our nav ball, yeah, we should see that is our destination, out that direction somewhere. Yep, there it is up in the sky. We don't have to get to it up that high, we just have to get below it. And I believe... Oh, let's go ahead and straighten her out. See if we can gain a little bit more altitude while we're at it. Oh, we have a failure. What is this? Oh, we're dumping fuel. This is not good. We're losing a lot of fuel. We had a failure on our fuel tank. Okay. That's bad. The other fuel tank is okay. Now, the question becomes is if this empties, this engine is going to run out of power. Can I repair it? Repair. Okay, we're probably gonna have to abort this, because I have a feeling that if this is a hard turn, maybe too hard a turn. I have a feeling that if that goes out of fuel, it's gonna end up killing that engine, and then we're gonna have to coast in. So, oh, we lost an elevon too. This is not good. There's a lot of failures happening. Okay, we're gonna attempt to get maybe close to the runway, but chances are we're just gonna have to set this down on the ground somewhere. This is not good. This is not good. Okay, so there's still a little bit of fuel in there. How's this one doing? Oh, now we've lost this engine. Oh gosh. Okay, we're gonna really shut things down. So we lost a fuel tank on one engine. It is almost depleted. We're moving really fast. We're gonna have to bleed some speed. It seems that this plane has enough control that we can glide in. Really testing my piloting skills now. I'm gonna attempt, well, I don't know if I want to hit the runway, because if I hit the runway, it's a dirt runway. It could end badly. Look at all the red flags on this plane. Jeez. Okay, we're gonna kill the engines, and I'm gonna pull up here. I'm just gonna attempt to see if we can, I'm gonna bring brakes up to 200% on the rear. Ooh, geez, I might hit the edge of the grass. Let's see if we can turn again a little bit. That'll bleed some more speed. See if we can get nice and mellow. Easy touchdown. Brakes applied, and... Oh, it's not the most beautiful landings, but we're safe, and we're gonna call it there, actually. Recover the vessel. Wow, that was actually really stressful. But the good news is we did collect some science. We get to refund the entire plane. For some reason, we got a lot more money, too. Where did all that come from? 10,000 refunded for the plane, but where did the extra cash come from? Something happened here. What happened? Vessel complete. Oh, we got more... Oh, we got more, things unlocked. Distance record. 1 kilometer. EVA test. We returned to the surface. Broken to land. Distance record. Recovered our first crew. Okay, so we got a couple of things. And then, yeah, we can see all of the failures on the Bumblebee. We had a liquid fuel fuselage. Our gas tank broke. We lost an elevon. We lost an engine. And we actually lost a control surface on one of our other winglets. Holy moly. Alright, well, you can see that this is going to be a stressful playthrough nonetheless. We do have a lot of science, though, unlocked because of all that stuff as well. So what I will do is let's go ahead and unlock these basic rocketry fabrication. Let's get small structures unlocked here, too. And then we still have 26 that we can do. Or, oh, a survivability might be a good one. This allows for parachutes. Would be a really good addition. Let's go ahead and do that so that way we get it researched. Now, we're going to have to launch the Bumblebee again, so we're going to have to build another one so we can complete those contracts. But we have done some testing now, and those parts should be a little bit more reliable than the first time. So we will go ahead and check that out. I think in the next episode we'll start off right with that mission. Until next time, though, I'm Kyle. This has been that one playthrough of Kerbal Space Program, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day.